The following program, The Lightning Strike, is sponsored by Mohammed Fahim, and to the extent applicable, their guests. The views and opinions expressed therein do not necessarily reflect those of NewsWeb Radio Company or its management.
Get ready to be jolted out of the ordinary and into a world where conversations are charged with intensity and facts. The Lightning Strike Talk Radio with your host, Mohammed Fahim, broadcasting live from the heart of the city on Chicago's Progressive Talk Radio, WCPT 820 AM. Welcome to a radio show that charges through the airwaves with an electricity like no other. Here's your host, Mohammed Fahim.
Good morning, folks. Welcome back to the Lightning Strike. I'm your host, Mohammed Fahim. With me in the studios again is John Anderson, who is running for judge for the appellate court. When we just heard from Judge Anderson, and also joining us today is Zerqa Abid. She is running for Congress in Ohio's 15th Congressional District. Good morning. Welcome.
Good morning. Thank you for having me.
Well, thank you for driving all the way from Ohio to come to the studio with us. I know that you have some other obligations also and some fundraisers scheduled for today. So where's the fundraiser in the afternoon today?
I think it's at OMG Nafisa Kitchen in Skokie.
Okay.
That's where we are meeting from 1 to 3 p.m.
Okay, folks. So if you want to meet with Ms. Abid from 1 to 2 p.m. today at Nafisa's Kitchen in, where is that again?
It's in Skokie.
In Skokie. So please keep that in mind. Nafisa's Kitchen in Skokie to meet with Ms. Abid in person. Wonderful person. We've been through your background. You have a huge background in community service. So you want to walk us through what got you into this to begin with?
I have been a public servant all my life. I believe that. But I have been in Ohio for 16 years. And in 2014, I learned about some children being trafficked from Columbus to Minnesota and Nashville, Tennessee. And when I looked more into it, I found out that these were some of the children of refugee and immigrant who were trafficked by truck drivers and being exploited. So I literally repurposed my life. And with that, I focused on addressing human trafficking, drugs, gangs, violence on the west side of Columbus, where we have a very large population. And 40% of Columbus sex and drugs trafficking happen in that particular corridor. So in last 16 years, I have through my nonprofit organization, I have served more than 300,000 Ohioans and have saved thousands and thousands of children from hunger, drugs, gang violence, and human trafficking. I've created safe neighborhoods, and the impact of my work is about $38 million.
Wow. So, folks, here we have a candidate who has a great chance of becoming the first Pakistani American congresswoman in our country. Okay. The website is zerqaabid.com. That is ZerqaAbid.com. If you want to check up on what Ms. Abid has been doing in the community. So I'm looking at your website over here, and I see that the issues that you are running on are economic development, education and youth development, building safe neighborhoods, human trafficking and substance abuse that you just spoke about, women's rights and empowerment, and obviously the environment also. What do you think is happening on our borders at the moment, and what President Biden has been doing as far as the borders are concerned? What do you think when you're in Congress? Are you going to be supporting what is happening if Biden gets reelected?
I support everything that is main justice issue. This is we have to, as international leaders, we have to be at the forefront of making sure that no international laws are being violated and at our borders, inside our country or outside. So I am 100% for providing the necessary services to people who are reaching to our country's border for asylum or any other services that they need. And also I am for pro-justice for people across the country. I believe that in our immigration system has a lot of work to do. We have long lines for years and years. People are waiting for legal immigrations, for green card purposes. That needs to be resolved. And I also believe that in our country, dreamers and other people who are in here, but they are not our taxpayers, they need to be, that situation has to be resolved. And I think we need a holistic immigration policy to solve this.
Okay, so what do you think about the governor of Texas challenging our federal system by saying that I'm not going to listen to what the president is saying. I'm going to have my own laws. My state laws are going to be more important than what the federal laws are.
I think that's a challenge to the whole United States of America. I think when we are a union of all of this and we are under a federal government, we have to, because otherwise we are basically calling for anarchy. If every single state will start asking for things that they want to do on their own, then how are we going to run as a country? And that is a problem.
That sure is a problem. And then we have this guy, Governor Abbott, who is sending like truckloads and busloads and plane loads of migrants all over the country's, the sanctuary cities and overwhelming the services over here. How would you, when you get into Congress, address this issue?
I think, as I said, our main focus has to be on the grounds of humanitarian grounds. That is very important for us to act as human beings.
Okay.
Because I think that when we are career politicians and we just want to do what is right for one party or the other party, we are actually failing our people and we are failing our countries. I think that the burden on taxpayers is just too much because of wrong policies in place. Mm-hmm. If we work with these people who are coming to our communities as refugees or asylum seekers. I am a nonprofit leader who has actually created workforce development program, have created jobs, have done trainings, and I can tell you that when we are going to have our policies in which we can take these people and train them and convert them into our taxpayers, it's gonna change our economy. It actually helps our economy. So on one side, I will say that those who are in the country, they need to be we need to work with them and we have to work the system in the way that it is better and boost our economy. On the other side, I would say that these, especially my heart goes out to the children. When I see those children in those, without blanket, without proper services, this is America. This is 2024 America where we have children's services who are supposed to take care of so many, smaller things. But then we are putting these children which is the violation of international law, separating them from their parents, separating them from their families, and then putting them in those kind of, jails kinds of units. So I believe that we need to work, and the United States of America, Congress and Senate needs to really act on these things, because we are failing not only those people and those families, but we are failing ourselves as leader of the world.
Okay. Ken, you have a question for Ms. Abid.
Well, speaking of borders, this just came over the news wire. The House Republicans just released 2 articles of impeachment against Homeland Security Secretary Mayorkas, accusing him of willful and systematic refusal to comply with the law and breach of public trust, which is kind of ironic and extremely hypocritical, because on President Trump's Orange Jesus urging, they decided to hold back funding for, providing the necessary funds to actually enforce the border situation. So I just wanted to bring that up. And what's your opinion on that? I
am not aware of this particular impeachment, so I need to check on that, and then I can answer you.
That just came across the wire literally 10 minutes ago. So
yeah, one of the things with WCPT is we say that facts matter. So we try to get the latest information that's going on over there. Folks will take a quick break. We have Ms. Zerqa Abid in the studio with us. She's running for Congress in Ohio's 15th Congressional District. This is a new district that has been created. So we'll take a quick break and come back with some of the comments on what's happening with the International Court of Justice, and then we'll continue our conversation with Ms. Abid. Good morning, folks, and welcome back to the Lightning Strike. And we will continue our conversation with Ms. Abid, and then we'll get into what happened at the International Court of Justice and how Israel is trying to spin this thing as to it was in their favor. Okay, so why did you decide to run for Congress? Why Congress?
That's such a good question. Thank you for asking that. So I have been a public servant all my life. I'm not an establishment candidate. I'm not a career politician. After serving my district for 16 years and making the impact that I have made, I am taking it to Washington because where the policies are drawn and budgets are made. And the reason I'm going there because I want to fight for social, economic, and environmental justice. I want to fight for fiscal accountability on taxpayer dollars. I want to fight for common sense gun controls law, for women's right to choose, for my farmers, my laborers, and everyday families, and for a pro-justice foreign policy.
That's so awesome. That's so often. Folks, look at this. She spent 16 years in public service before deciding to run for Congress. We have a lot of people who just want to jump in and run for Congress without establishing a base. How many precincts are there in your district?
There are several, and the thing is, my district is divided into, it's a very interesting district, it's divided into rural and urban areas, so there are very different challenges. My rural areas have different challenges, these are more farmland, they have their own issues of transportations and ditches and solar farms and whatnot, and then my urban area has a major issue of human trafficking, gun violence, drugs, but what is common in both of them is unemployment and the lack of resources, which is where the poverty comes on. So my district has several neighborhoods which are under 500 to 200% poverty line. And that is where, I am so, passionate to really work as a small business owner myself and an immigrant myself. I know that we can solve it. We have done it for a small precinct area. We can do it for all. And that's why I'm running for Congress.
Well, thank you so much for your service and thank you for running. Folks, we got a very, very well-qualified candidate over here who's going to be running for Congress in the Ohio's 15th Congressional District. And my understanding is that this is a new district that was created.
Yes. So when Congressman Mike Carey, who is incumbent right now, he ran last time, it was a very different district. It was 100% gerrymandered Republican district. Right now, this is a new district which has Columbus, some part of Columbus downtown, Hilliard, Dublin, Galloway. All of this is Franklin County area, which is 65% of the constituents about. And then we have Madison County, Miami County, Shelby County, smaller areas of that side too. This is a very new district. So if somebody is looking up and saying that how last time this election happened, those are irrelevant numbers. The new district had two recent elections. One was on August 8th, a special election, and November 7th, the general election. And both of them, the issues that were supported by the Democratic Party, they won by about 13 to 14% margin. And we know that this district heavily supports women empowerment and women. So I am the most qualified and best candidate for this particular district, which has people who need help, and I am here to serve them.
Absolutely wonderful. Folks, again, ZerqaAbid.com, ZerqaAbid.com is Ms. Abid's website. Please go and check it out. And again, we will take a quick break and come back with our next segment on what is happening with the ICJ ruling. And we want to have your comments on that. The number to call in is 773-763-9278. And then we will end up our day's program today with Susan Holman, who will be calling in to talk about communication skills, especially in today's social media world. How can parents communicate with their children, which I think is going to be an extremely important topic. And if you could, don't mind, if you can please stay till the end of the show with us.
Yes. Thank you.